story. Now, a crackdown on foreign-born criminals has seen almost 3,000 ordered to leave Australia in the past 3 years. More than a third have been convicted of assault or other violent crimes, and there are more than 450 drug traffickers and dealers amongst them. But many are still to be deported after lodging appeals.
For their take, we're joined once again by Senators Pauline Hanson and Hanson-Young. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Pauline, should these criminals be able to appeal against the deportation orders?
No, I don't believe so at all. We have a racket, a scam that's going on. We've got a lot of people that are actually coming in from Malaysia now at the moment, and they come over here on a visa. They get a visa. It's the only Asian country they can get a visa online. Now, once they actually get here, they stay here for about 3 months, then they apply for refugee status. Now, when they actually go to the courts, they appeal the process of the Immigration Department if they've been denied a stay, or they just automatically put in for a refugee status. That costs about $35. Once they get that, then they can actually work. They get a bridging visa, they can work, and it is so wrong. It's costing us millions of dollars a year for this to have this board set up, and what Australians are paying for it. So there's scams that are going on. If the Immigration Department have done their job and they've investigated this, these people have no right to stay here. No. They shouldn't be here in this country.
Yeah. Sarah, should Immigration Minister Peter Dutton be taking a closer look at who is coming to Australia in the first place?
Well, look, I think actually we have quite a rigorous process. If the department can get through people's claims and look at them, we actually have a really good system set up. I think Pauline's conflated two different issues here. The story around foreign, overseas-born people breaking the law, being convicted of terrible crimes and then being deported is very different to the idea of people coming to Australia on some type of visiting visa and then applying for refugee status.
If foreigners break the law in this country, they should be deported?
Well, look, I think each case needs to be taken individually, and that's why you have a court system. It's, you know, it's obviously a process in any democracy to be able to appeal a case.
But should taxpayers here have to pay for them to sit in jail here when they're not Australian citizens?
When you look at a number of the cases in relation to this, some of these people have been here pretty much all their life. A lot of New Zealanders who have come here as young children, have grown up in this country, educated in this country, and if they're now committing crimes, in some respects Australia has to take some responsibility for that because we educated these people. They've paid taxes.
Hang on a minute. We don't have to take responsibility for this.
Oh, we don't have to take responsibility for their crimes, Pauline, but you do have to take responsibility for people who have spent their entire life here. If we have to...
I think people need to take responsibility for their own actions, and I'm sick and tired of people being in this country who should not be here, committing crimes, costing taxpayers thousands, if not millions of dollars.
So let the courts do their job.
And our jails are overflowing.
Let the courts do their job, Pauline.
If they have a criminal offence of 12 months more, then they are being deported out of this country. And I reckon the majority of Australians will agree with me on this one, because they're fed up with it. We're taken as mugs around the world. They come out here, peddle their drugs, commit their crimes, and yet we still put up with it? No,
Pauline, I know you want to run a fear campaign about people who come here. The thing is, there are different groups of people and there are different circumstances. You can't paint everybody with the same brush.
These are criminals.
Yeah, sure. Criminals. So let the court do their job.
They're criminals.
Let the court do their job, Pauline. Thank God it's not, you know, Judge Pauline, because you'd have no fair system, there'd be no appeals, and, you know, it would be everybody that you don't like with a mark against them. Thankfully, we live in a democracy.
OK. All right, let's move on. What about this? As 7 News revealed last night, asylum seekers brought to Australia from Nauru or Manus Island for medical treatment will have their welfare entitlements cut from today, and they've been told they will eventually be sent back offshore. Sarah, what happens to the children born here to those asylum seekers?
Look, I think this is one of the harshest parts of this, is that there are a number of children, 50 in fact, children who have been born in Australia, in Australian hospitals. The Royal Melbourne Children's Hospital, the Children's Hospital in Brisbane, hospitals here in Sydney. These children will, under this rule that the Minister wants to enforce, be sent to Nauru. We know that the conditions on Nauru are atrocious. Many of the children who had previously been there have been sent back to Australia because they've been hurt and damaged by those conditions. It's very harsh. I think most Australians would say, look, come on, we've got all these other issues going on. Why are we going to spend $500,000, that's how much it is per person, to send them back to Nauru and keep them there? This is just a ridiculous suggestion from the government. These children were born here, they should be allowed to stay.
Pauline, what do you think about this? What do you do with these kids that are born in detention or born on Australian soil to, at the time, illegal arrivals?
We have a law here, although you may be born in this country, it does not make you an Australian citizen. Actually, we're having some problems even in our own parliament now with people that are born here are still not Australian citizens. So anyway, those people that are born here are not Australian citizens. They belong with their parents. Their parents are not eligible to stay in Australia. They go back to the detention centres. The Immigration Department have made it quite clear these people will not find an easy way to come to Australia. Thank goodness the coalition put a stop to the boats coming in here. 50,000 we had coming here to Australia. And yes, Sarah, you're pretty much on the mark. It's actually $572,000 per person it costs the taxpayer.
To send them to Nauru.
$11 billion that has actually cost the taxpayer to stop these people coming here to Australia and put them in detention centres. I'd like you to get out to rural and regional areas. Towns are dying, kids are on drugs. There are problems that they can't get work. We are not being able to clean up our own backyard. I actually was at Quirindi on the weekend.
So do you think these children should stay then so we don't spend that money?
From Afghanistan, he actually was going to say, I'm going home to kill myself. We had to contact the police to go and make sure he didn't. This is a soldier who fought for Australia, who actually is not being looked after, and you're more concerned about these illegals coming into the country than looking after your own.
Pauline, I don't think you can call a child. I just don't think it's right to call a child that was born in Australia an illegal. There is nothing illegal about a child that was born here. And I urge you,
that is the parents' responsibility. If they have their children, they are here illegally. And they are not the people's responsibility. They are the parents' responsibility.
You say you care about people.
Don't come here illegally. I want to clean up my own backyard. I'm not like you, travel around the world and go over to the Mediterranean, those places, and worrying about the refugees there. You know what? I've gotten too many people who are homeless in this country, who are on drugs.
You're a very tricky politician, Pauline.
That's
You're
my
a very good politician.
They are my first responsibility. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
You're a very,
because
very
I'm a
tricky politician
for the Australian people.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this. This is one of my favourite stories of the day. Melbourne gangland widow Roberta Williams wants to run against Labor leader Bill Shorten at his seat at the next federal election. She's a convicted drug trafficker. She would need to be discharged from bankruptcy before she can run. Pauline, she allegedly...
Just one little hurdle.
She allegedly owes $300,000 to the ATO, and she's running on a platform of free health care. I don't think she really understands quite how things get paid for. What do you think of this?
But I don't know, sometimes I think about Bill Shorten's track record and you know, he's not all squeaky clean in some things that I've heard about him, but he's put it to rest and he said, no, it's all good. But look, if she passes it and she hasn't got a criminal conviction against her and all these things, why not? We live in a democracy.
Sarah,
people will make their say, won't they?
Are you more concerned about her volunteers on polling day going, you will vote for Roberta, won't you?
Yes, look, I mean, look, if she's eligible to run, you know, everyone should be able to run. I think I'd say to her, make sure you're not a dual citizen. Check that out.
Are you allowed to?
Yes, well, check that out.
Isn't that interesting? That's the big. Are you allowed to run when you're a convicted criminal?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no,
so she might.
No, there's certain rules around. If you've been convicted of a crime that that carries a sentence of a year or more, you're effectively disqualified. So look, if she's eligible, she's eligible. I don't think Bill Shorten's going to have anything to worry about.
Okay, Senators, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, still.